Horror movies in the last couple of years, at least the mainstream ones, have been very interesting. We've had our very high highs, but we've also had some very low lows. And it feels like it's almost been impossible to predict what's going to be good versus what's going to be bad. Will it be a campy classic we love from the get-go? Will the movie just crash and burn? Or will it be something we hate and reclaim in 10 years? Who knows? The movies have been all over the spectrum. Even the established iconic horror franchises are having a difficult time guaranteeing the world the movies will be any good. Halloween 2018 I thought was excellent. Halloween Kills I thought was far from excellent. If I hear Evil Dies Tonight one more time, I might lose it. But where does that leave Halloween Ends? I'm excited because it's a horror movie and it's Halloween, but also, if I'm being honest, I'm nervous because there's just no guarantee anymore. In all honesty, my expectations for Smile were fairly low. A cheesy trailer with echoes of Truth or Dare, but there was always something about the movie that left me cautiously optimistic. I don't know, maybe it was the ingenious marketing ploy to hire random actors to stand at a baseball game, hold a creepy smile, and just stare at the camera. Or maybe it was that one jump scare in the trailer that admittedly was pretty terrifying. I mean, I consider myself a fairly positive person, and I try to always keep an open mind when watching something. I mean, I gave Firestarter a chance, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre a chance, the Netflix one. And hell, I even gave Marmaduke a chance, and arguably I really shouldn't have. But after watching Smile at this year's Fantastic Fest, I can confidently say it was so much better than the trailer made it out to be. Quick synopsis. There's this entity that curses someone, and when cursed, you're then forced to commit suicide in front of someone else after a certain amount of days have passed. If you are the unfortunate person to witness the suicide, well, the curse is then passed on to you, and so on and so on. Sosie Bacon, yes, the daughter of Kevin Bacon, sadly witnesses a suicide and then spends most of the film trying to figure out what is going on and how to stop it. You're probably thinking, wow, this sounds very familiar, and that's because it is. It's like a weird combination of It Follows and The Ring, except not as good as either of those. But if there's one thing that Smile succeeds at, which most movies this year can't really compete with, is its insane amount of jump scares. It's like an episode of Oprah. You get a jump scare, you get a jump scare, everyone gets a jump scare. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Well, that completely depends. Some people think jump scares are a cheap and lazy way to generate scares, which I think is a fair argument. But I think the jump scares in Smile feel fairly well earned and don't really disrupt the flow of the story. Speaking of the story, there's a point in Smile where it forgets it's a horror movie and transitions into a full-blown detective story. Which isn't always a bad thing for some movies, but for Smile, the premise isn't nearly as interesting as it thinks it is. I think at some point it could have been, but by the time the investigation does get interesting, it's a little too late. Which maybe this is a good thing, because if there's one thing I love about the movie, it's the last 20 minutes. Wild, scary, a little gruesome, a true roller coaster of a movie that starts off really high, gets pretty low in the middle, but ends, in my opinion, on a very high note. People always love to ask about the amount of gore in these movies. It's there. I wouldn't say it's over the top, but when it does happen, it doesn't hold back. It is worth noting the movie at least attempts to tackle some deeper themes, like trauma or the guilt we unnecessarily carry due to family, but the attempts aren't really fleshed out and it just comes off as half-baked. So while Smile may lack the atmospheric tension and dread that's present in It Follows or the intensely terrifying imagery of The Ring, it settles for a more popcorn-worthy watch and enough jump scares to even get the most veteran of horror fans. Which for those reasons, plus the fact that we're living in this world where we get like 3 horror remakes and 1 horror original, and this being an original, it's definitely worth checking out.